on the 5-year plan in years past. The second one's the Lake Creek Trail pedestrian connection from Will and Balmer site. And again, there's a trail system down there, and the proximity of this new development down at the entrance to Liverpool Road is such that there could be some linkages and connectivity made to this new sidewalk across the street down in that area and down to the Lake Creek Trail. I think there's opportunities here for a public-private partnership, but that remains on the list as well. Item 3 is a decorative light pole asset replacement project. The town had retained ownership, operation, and maintenance of all the streetlights in the town, formerly owned by National Grid, and retrofitted those with LED heads. There are, however, about 200 decorative light poles that are still in service, which require replacement of the poles and the bases. What was proposed was an inventory of the condition of the decorative lights, the assets, and then an asset renewal project. It's not known whether or not that study would be eligible under CDBG funding. Certainly the cost of that would probably go well beyond CDBG grant limits, which are now in place. Item number 4 is continued enhancements at Burnham, Dewar, and Sayre Parks. Again, you've recently done some pretty substantial trail improvements at Burnham and Dewar. This project would continue to improve the parks with universally acceptable playground and ADA compliant surfacing at Burnham Park, and an updated various site amenities and furnishings at both parks: benches, signs, bike racks, seating, and tables, and then installing a new accessible connection to the recently installed ADA compliant playground at Sayre Park. That would be an eligible project. It's in eligible areas, so something to consider. There is also a parks grant out right now, which we may want to talk about, that could be applied towards that. So we can circle back on that. And then town park splash pads. There are a couple pools in the town that it's been discussed to potentially convert those into splash pads at Ridgefield, Dewar, Sayre, Onefelder Parks.
Oh no.
It's not, that does not mean any of those stuff is happening. These are conversations.
Okay.
These are
Projects for public hearing
ideas.
and comment.
This is to increase engagement. community
Sorry.
Participation.
Sayre Park Pool.
Yeah, so if you go back years, this list used to be huge. And over the, I'd say last 15, 20 years, the town boards have actively reduced this list. And it means we're getting a lot of stuff done through these block grants and everything. So it's been fantastic, and definitely it's been great working with Barton and years to really refine a lot of this stuff.
I think one thing that's important to point that the good board counselor just said, and I think there's a potential opportunity here to increase public engagement and participation. But I think the town is in desperate need of new ideas for our 5-year plan, new projects. So there might be a conversation that this board should have about expanding the scope of public input and maybe having some type of non-board committee to help us expand and create a new 5-year plan in the future. So I think that's something that we can discuss. But that is the current 5-year plan. I think we do have a project. This is the only project, Denise, that we are trying to potentially trying to implement, if it does get passed today, is only the sidewalk extension up School Road to the new pavilion, to give a little bit more color to the whole picture with that for the board and public. Ken and myself and Jason had a conversation today with New York State DEC regarding a $200,000 grant that we had received for electrical vehicle charging stations. David, it's a grant, it's funded by New York State, not by local taxpayer dollars. But it is a electric vehicle charging station that would go there where the pavilion is as well. So it's kind of maximizing this public space as best as possible.
For a while.
3 years, we got the grant 3 years ago,
Yeah,
so. we just-
September 22, and it expires in September 25.
So, New York State.
$99,000 grant, 100% grant no.
Well, New York State's been holding us up, so we had a whole conversation with them today, but we're almost there. But nonetheless, it kind of fits in with that public space. I think, you said it's $100,000, the grant for the CDBG would be for $50,000, so there would be a $50,000 match from the town. The town has made a policy that we budget for it. If we're awarded the grant, we plan for the budget, for the following year as a capital project. Are there any comments from the public? Any questions from the public? Okay.
I have one comment.
Yes.
That, actually about the electric vehicle charging stations, yeah, we definitely don't have enough, period. So I know that that's kind of a small thing.
Do you have anything specific to this public hearing though?
What?
To the sidewalk?
No, I thought you were just talking about the implementation of
Vehicle.
well, I mean, obviously, yes, the sidewalk as well. But no, I think that's great.
Okay.
Everything you're saying.
Sounds good. You can, I had no problem with that.
You like how they're stick to the
I just wanted to
chickens.
make sure
All right,
that-
all right.
With the one thing this is about.
Nick, I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Alrighty.
My car was expensive, okay?
What's that?
My car was expensive.
Do you have electrical vehicle?
I'm all for it.
Alright, with that, do we wanna make a motion to close this public hearing? Do we have a second? All in favor, please say aye. Public hearing is closed. Is this on the agenda, Jason, separately, or are we voting on it now?
I would do it right now.
Okay. Is there, Joe, is there no secret or anything? So, do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Are there any town board comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs? Aye. Counselor Collins? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Curry?
Yes. Do we need two votes? One for the 5-year plan and the other for submission?
Just one resolution to approve.
Okay, perfect. Con, thank you. All right, we're on to the residents wishing to speak. Anybody signed up?
Yep, first up, I have Anita Parks.
Anita, you have 3 minutes. Please provide your name and address for the board. It's good to see you. And your hair looks very nice.
Anita Parks, 233 Norwood Ave, Liverpool, New York. Like I said, and then you beat me to it, I was just gonna request a moment of silence to remember Judy Tissolin, who passed away on April 9th. She was the chairperson for the Town of Salina Bicentennial, and I was a part of that committee also. Judy served 6 terms in our Onondaga County Legislature for the 14th District, and she did a lot for the Town of Salina. So she'll be remembered as a caring person who continued to serve her community and her constituents. May she rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else signed up to speak?
Yep, I have Kathleen Gisela.
Kathleen, 3 minutes, please
Yeah,
provide.
I did fast last time, I only did it 2. Okay, so, Catherine Mishana, I am the 43-year historian of Central New York for Alfred Bond, Wizard of Oz. I'm using the B, so I'm going to do it quickly. Okay, so, what you're looking at is the 10-year marker for the property on what was once called Roselawn, where the community center is now. And the William Pomeroy Foundation awarded the sign, however, it takes 12 to 14 weeks to make it. But on May 17th, we have the 125th anniversary celebration of the Book of the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which was May 17, 1900. We're having a small get-together at the Kruger's Funeral Home. And we are going to have like a mock-up sign for it now, where we want to talk about the sign, commemorating property, and then the big one. That's it. We're done. If you have any questions, let me know. Could it be any better than? I told you I'd do quick. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else signed up to speak?
Heather White?
I know you've done it twice now, I'm gonna ask you to do it again. 3 minutes, name and address for the record.
Yeah. Heather White, 7070 Buckley Road. Last time I spoke, I provided you guys kind of a little blanket speech just explaining the pros and cons of chicken ownership, but today is a little more home-head, to give you guys something to think about, but today I stand in front of you to address the most common concern I see addressed. What I promise you and all residents of Salina is that I will not come in as an activist for any cause, only pleading my case while ignorantly neglecting to research and weigh in on all negative impacts as well. I am advocating for the personal freedom to own and responsibly raise backyard hens in a clean and well-maintained coop and run. So back to the number one concern, I am frequently told online that this is not a personal freedom issue, this is a public health concern, with the avian flu running rampant. There are two types of bird flu, highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI, and low pathogenic avian influenza. The former mentioned, HPAI, is a mutated strain affecting bird populations and has the ability to kill an entire flock in less than 48 hours. Whereas LPAI is not deadly and often flocks recover before even showing symptoms. This new strain emerged in 2021, perplexing scientists, farmers, and activists. But we know one proven truth. LPAI came from wild birds, but this new highly pathogenic strain originated in the poultry sector on factory farms. Concentrated animal feeding operations on factory farms create the perfect storm for disease spread, like bird flu, to spread and mutate. Which brings me to my first photo. I handed you guys a set of 3 photos. If they're in order, look at the first one. Which brings, birds on factory farms are kept within inches of one another, in bars with food in front of them and a nesting pad beneath them to lay their eggs. And their waste is piled behind them. In the next photo, you will see a factory farm worker with fully covered clothing and a mask as breathing in the poorly ventilated air in these facilities is truly where the public health concern lies. Factory farms exploit animals by confining and trapping thousands of egg and meat chickens in the confined and poorly ventilated facilities, leaving flocks and workers unprotected. While this disease kills thousands of chickens, the truth remains. As of January 6, 2025, there have been 66 confirmed human cases ever of bird flu in the United States and 1 documented death. The diseases humans and unvaccinated dogs spread prove to be far more deadly. Don't worry, I won't go on for longer about the case of Salmonella, as that only directly applies to the owners and handlers of chickens, which proper hygiene alone can prevent. So again, I am not advocating to own 300 chickens in my backyard to slaughter and feed my family for the year. There are family farms for that with far better conditions. Shop at the CLI Regional Farmers Market. I am advocating for the brighter side of things, to love and raise these environmentally beneficial animals as pets, to get humanely sourced eggs and prevent insect infestations. Which brings me to my last photo. Which do you think is a bigger public health concern? Poorly ventilated factory farms or beautifully maintained coops in which our flocks in the town of Salina would breathe fresh air? The avian flu is increasing the price of store-bought eggs, not killing people. Having children, raising dogs, and going to the grocery store are all far bigger public health concerns, but still freedoms nonetheless. See you in about 2 weeks with my petition.
Thank you. Anybody else? No one else signed up to speak? Is there anybody in the audience that is wishing to speak? Is there a Pam here? Pam? A demo? I'll bring that up during my comments then. She was somebody that was looking to speak today, and I wasn't sure if she was gonna come to speak or not, so. First word.
Just really quick, today is Purple Up for military families, so I just want to give a huge shout out to our town of Salina veterans and military members, and just thank our outreach coordinator for all he does for them as well.
Our second ward counselor? Third ward counselor?
The third ward community meeting is next week, April 21st, 6:30 p.m. at the Mankato Fire Department. These are the meeting dates for the rest of the year for the third ward and neighborhood watch. I will send these to the town clerk, so you just have to write them all down right now. Neighborhood watch is May 19th, third ward is June 16th. Neighborhood watch July 21st, and third ward is August 18th. Neighborhood watch on September 22nd. Third ward on September 29th, and then finishing out the season with neighborhood watch on October the 20th. All meetings are at 6:30 at the Mankato Fire Department.
Our fourth ward counselor?
Just like to note that we did launch the food bank at the BFW last Monday, and Mondays from 4 to 6 p.m. You can drop off food. It's located at 2000 Lemoyne Ave. Thank you.
That's every Monday?
Yes. I did receive a phone call today, from Pam, who lives on Bailey Ave, who called wishing to speak during town board comments, in support of the board recently, passing a local law to purchase the property surrounding the community center. She was concerned about the online petition that was circulating. She thought that the move by this board was commendable. She appreciated it. She understood the purpose of why the town is doing that and trying to make sure that the property surrounding the community center does not fall into disrepair and it looks bad. She's excited about all the progress that has been made in Maggieydale and hopes that the community continues to get better. So hopefully I was able to speak well to what she had said. Additionally, I had my comptroller pull up tax rates for the town of Salina going back to 2013. This again is just for information for the general public. Since 2013, between 2013 and 2019, the tax rate, the total tax rate, including the general part town and highway, increased from 4.6% to 4.8%, to 5%, to 5.15%, 5.35%, 5.7%, finally 6.1%. Since 2019, the total tax rate has decreased 5.6%, 5.1%. In 2022, it dropped to 4.72%, 4.42%. In 2024, as I have made clear the last couple of meetings, which was a large tax rebate to the residents, it dropped all the way down to 3.8%. And this past budget, it was back up to 4.4%, still the lowest tax rate in the last 12 years. So I just wanted to make sure that that was noted and great work with the town board members, the newer members to my right and the two older members to my left. Have been on the board since 2020 when these tax rates started to drop. So I just wanted to make sure that was aware, because I know that there has been opinions and worries about taxes in the town of Salina and the cost of them. And I think that it's important, the facts of what the tax rate has actually been doing is stated publicly. Next item, motion to approve the March 24th, 2025 minutes. Motion. Do we have a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion to approve the March 31st, 2025 special meeting minutes. Motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
There's one abstention, Lisa Paul. The first is under town engineer. I'm gonna go through this quickly. If there's more that you need to add, or if there's a question, we'll go that out. Consider the approval of a revocable license at 5 Westgate Lane. Any concerns from the engineer?
There are none. We're replacing existing fence already in use.
Okay. See. This is Westgate Lane, First Ward. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs?
Aye.
Counselor
Yes.
Powell? Counselor Ciccarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Finley?
Yes, the next is a revocable license for 223 Walters Drive. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs?
Approved. I'm sorry, aye.
Counselor Paul?
Yes.
Counselor Ciccarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Finley?
You're okay with this, right, Jason? I should have asked you.
Yes, there's gonna be some requirements for the building permit, but yes.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Yes, next is to authorize the supervisor to sign an application for wastewater disposal system. Where is this located?
Glenview subdivision behind Dunkin' Donuts on Oswego Road.
Is this going to help with the development already?
Correct. Once it gets through the design process, it's for 38 single-family homes over there, and this is a form, it's a PSP 5, Denise, I don't know what it stands for. That they need to sign, we need to authorize them to hook up to our sewers.
Okay. Those homes are gonna be built this year. Another exciting thing for the town of Salina. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs?
Aye.
Counselor Paul? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Farrell?
Yes, the next one is consider a resolution for Bridge New York contract for Aldenwood Drive project. This is the second culvert in the Sunflower, neighborhood. We had a Bridge New York award, it was, what, $1 million, $2 million?
This one is for 1.16 million.
How much was the other one?
Just 1.03.
So 1 million for the first one on Sunflower Drive. This is for a separate culvert a little bit further up the creek there on Aldenwood Drive. This is fully funded, so over $2 million in culvert repairs for the Sunflower neighborhood. This should be good for the next 50 years.
It's great. There's no town match. This is a great move for the town.
Yeah. All right.
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs?
Aye.
Counselor Paul? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Farrell?
Yep. The next one is to authorize the task authorization form for Barnum and Judas for the Bear Trap Creek Trail Community Development Project. This was the CDBG grant that we were awarded last year. We did budget for that, so it is fully funded. This will add improvements to the Bear. God bless you. This will add improvements to the Bear Trap Creek Trail with exercise equipment along the trail, improved signage, hopefully to get more use, and hopefully there's more improvements in the future as well. But do we have a motion?
Make a motion.
Do we have a second? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs?
Aye.
Counselor Paul? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Farrell?
Yes. The next one is a change order submitted by Ashley Thomas for the community center for a stairwell in the back that included more steel and labor. Originally, the stairwell was supposed to be a zigzag. It was supposed to go down and back. Because of the steel, they had to do another turn and add another platform to it. We did have a walkthrough that every board member but Lisa and Dan were able to make. Lisa, I know, had an emergency, a family emergency, otherwise she would have been there. During that walkthrough, that was shown to all the board members and explained to them at that time. Do we have any questions? Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs?
Aye.
Counselor Paul? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Reluctantly, yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Farrell?
I will just make one point for the board in general, and was also requested that I make the point, so I'm doing that as well. This is not increasing the cost of the community center. There is a budgeted amount. This is not increasing above what the budgeted amount for the community center is. This is just a change in the scope. They had bid on it at a certain price for the zigzag because of the addition of it. So that's what the change is. I would like to put it into some perspective that the renovations here at this town hall were $8 million. So we had $8 million for renovations for this town hall. And during that renovation, there were well over a dozen change orders at that time. So we haven't even approached that. And with that, there's still only one change order that has had a significant increase. And that was, obviously, as I continually say, the unsuitable soils that were discovered on the site that we had hoped were remediated with the previous contract.
Yeah, my gripes more with CNS, and we've had conversations about that.
So I'm gonna vote yes as well. Are there any other items on the engineer?
No, unless there's any questions for me?
I do not. Okay, next is to, under the town attorney, authorize the release for request for proposals for a public benefit project on Brewerton Road. This was the next step after we authorized for the purchase. We are going through the due diligence period before we go execute the purchase contracts. I would like to make a proposal to extend the RFP response due date. Currently, it is May 9th. I would like to extend that out to June 1st.
Should we go, just for, I guess kind of an idea, I mean, we can extend it at any point in time.
We can further extend it later.
So my idea is to kind of see where it ends up between now and the next board meeting, to see if there is kind of a good push, and then it was not extended out at that point.
I mean, we could, I just have a general worry that it could spook, potential, investors or developers with that. That was the feedback that I initially received when we started pushing, when I started. This is on our website, it's public, we're ratified it, so this is an amendment to it as well. But that was kind of the feedback I got, was that this is an extremely aggressive turnaround time, especially when a lot of them are going to have to be engaging architects, they're going to have to be spending a lot of money to do this, and it does sound like there's going to be significant requests for information and interest in communicating with the town board and having questions with the town board. So we could do that, I just don't want to put anybody that is interested in this on their list.
You can also look at trigger, RFI trigger in additional time.
And you could, yeah. So I would propose we still extend it, just to June and,
This still keeps us underneath the 90-day period.
yes, well within the 90-day period. Okay?
We think in June, like, beginning of June, first week of June?
Yeah, let's do June first. The intended award date, we can push back even further. We don't necessarily have to award it, right away. So,
June 2nd is Monday.
what's that?
June 2nd is Monday.
So let's do June 2nd, then, since that's Monday, thank you, David. We can do the intended award date to be August, what's the first Monday in August?
4th.
August 4th. For now, and the schedule potentially can change based on feedback. Does that work for everybody? Okay. With that, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Thomas? Aye. Councilor Ball? Yes. Councilor Siscotti?
Yes.
Councilor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Carl?
Yes. Alright, resolution, the next item. The next item is a resolution adopting a local law amending the anti-nepotism law. Do we have any comments on this?
Yes, I got just a few. So I reached out to the Association of Towns just to get some additional information about if this has ever been done anywhere else in New York State. They said they've never heard of any town in New York State trying to do this type of amendment. They suggested just leave it up to the voters to decide instead of doing this. They said there's no state statute for towns regarding this specifically. And then my questions are, where did the number for the fine come from? Who would even enforce that? And what judge would it go in front of if it had to go to that point?
Most likely go in front of the town,
Can you speak into the microphone?
would most likely go in front of the town, court judge. $1,000 a day was just a number that, we picked because that's typical for our fines under our code. I don't think the Association of Towns said it was illegal in any way, shape, or form.
No, they weren't saying that. They were just, suggesting since nobody's done it, and they also said too that, the fine would potentially not even stand up in court as well, so.
Well, if no town's tried it before, or no town's done it before, we wouldn't know. I can tell you there was a lawsuit filed challenging this law and it was dismissed already, so, that is true, we just found that out actually today. It's a novel idea, I will say that we are pushing the boundaries with this law and that no town I have seen no town, do this, but, I can't find anything that says it's illegal and I can find precedent that actually supports it, so.
Yeah, so the dismissal, in the lawsuit from Dominic Cicerelli versus the town of Salina and Nicholas Parrow, was dismissed by Supreme Court Justice Rory McMahon. It says, please be advised that the above referenced petition is not an appropriate filing. The matter has not been commenced appropriately. Further, the Supreme Court is not the correct venue for such a request. You may wish to seek counsel of an attorney as the court is unable to provide legal advice. This letter constitutes the decision in the order of the court. That is what you referenced to the lawsuit, just so I know there were some confused faces. There's been a decision for that. Correct, Joe?
That is correct.
All right, any other questions or comments?
what I'm not understanding is.
I'm gonna ask you, so I know the last meeting, we did a very open forum that was specific to that. We gotta follow the Robert's rules. So during public comments or during, that's the time when we can take it, okay?
No worries.
All right, I appreciate it.
No, I get it.
Any other board comments, concerns? Is there a motion? If there's no motion, then it goes away. Sounds good. All right, the next is a resolution adopting a local law for a change of zone from R2 to O1 at 7145 Buckley Road. Do we have any comments? Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Counselor Downs? Aye. Counselor Paul? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Curry?
Yes. The next is a resolution for a local law for a change of zone to I-1 for properties at or around Terminal Road. We're not gonna vote on this specifically, we do need to vote on, being a lead agency for
Yes.
secret purposes.
So I'll do a voice resolution for you guys. It's a motion to designate the proposed action as a type 1 action for purposes of state environmental quality review, and also designating the town of Salina's intent to act as lead agency and send out lead agency notices.
Motion.
We have a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs? Aye. Counselor Paul? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Curry?
Yes. Okay. The specific one that's on the agenda we'll be voting on after the 30-day period, notice period, through the full secret review, right? Joe?
That's correct. Yep.
The next one is a resolution enacting a home rule message to the New York State Legislature requesting the establishment of a speed zone camera demonstration program within the town of Salina. Do we have a second? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs? Aye. Counselor Paul? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Curry?
Yes. Fantastic. Mr. Gregg will be in touch. The next is to schedule a public hearing to consider a zone change for 125 Elwood Davis Road, on April 28th at 6:31 p.m.
Motion.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Downs? Aye. Counselor Paul? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Curry?
Yes. Mark, the applicant should be prepared to come to that public hearing with renderings and a presentation on what they would like to do. The board will not be able to vote. We can close the public hearing that day. We won't be able to vote on it that day because we'll be waiting for the county to review on it. And we won't be able to review it until the 30th, but we have it scheduled for now. We have a resolution setting a public hearing for a local law that creates a four-way stop sign at the intersection of Roxborough Road and Bernard Street. This is going to be for 6:30 to 6:32 p.m.
I do just wanna make one comment, nobody on this petition is from the town of Salina. I do understand why they're doing it, so Lake Shore, elementary school has moved over to St. Margaret's while they are, getting renovations. There has been a lot of extra traffic, extra kids and things like that using the, St. Margaret's school there. So I can understand the concerns of the parents to want to have a four-way stop sign.
Yeah, with the community center being right there and hopefully the potential development of it, I think it makes sense as well. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call roll.
Counselor Downs? Aye. Counselor Paul? Yes. Counselor Cicarelli?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Supervisor Curry?
Yep. Is there anything else, Joe? Jason, you're gonna speak to this one, the approved, the updated capital project sheet, annual report, nice guys.
I suspected I was ready for it.
Okay.
Yes. So the board will remember that we were awarded two $30,000 grants for inflow and infiltration studies, one in Mattydale, one in Midcourt, and we had a $6,000 match on both of those. Part of that grant, at $30,000, our match was going to be televising the sewers where our consultant found a lot of overnight flows and dry weather flows in our sanitary sewer. in Mattydale, they had no problem finding sources of infiltration, so our camera took up, we got $6,000 very easily. And however, in Lincourt, they had a lot less areas of inflow and infiltration, so they didn't televise as much. So we're revising our capital project sheet. We won't be getting the full $30,000 because we can't get our full $6,000 match. So that's all this capital project sheet is updating them because of that.
Any questions? Any concerns? Is there a motion? Is there a second? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Jones. Aye. Counselor Paul. Yes. Counselor Cicero.
Yes.
Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Supervisor Carr.
Yes, the next authorized community center museum redesign submitted by CNS companies. Any questions, any concerns? Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Is there a second? If there's no second, it won't be considered.
So this is something that has been on the beginning block stages since the beginning of this project, since the first meeting that happened with all the different groups. This is something that was known by CNS since the beginning that was gonna be done. And there was gonna be additional conversations like happened to get down to the fine details of it. Majority of this cost comes to the redesign of the upstairs room. But to keep in mind that any of the finishes and all of that will be done by the organization using that room. So there's going to be a huge cost savings not having to do any of that work ourselves inside there. And also the organization that's in there wants to make it within the lease with the town that any and all of the stuff that's put in that museum will end up being the town's property at some point in the future. So there is a bigger picture of what this could turn into. And there's also international organizations across, not just the country, but the world that are looking at this project to be done to the full vision of what it was originally put in place as. And this board had understanding of that ahead of time as well. So,
There is a motion. Do we have a second? There is no second.
since there's no second, I'd like to just know if nobody had any questions or concerns. I tried reaching out to everybody, some people didn't get back to me. Just wanna wonder what the issue is with this specifically.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you know, so I would wanna encourage you to talk to the board members offline, they don't have to say that unless they vote no on it. I will say this though, for some encouragement, because Kathleen here, she left, so I'll say it to you. I have been approached by a few people who are interested in, potentially helping and, providing potential funding for this that wouldn't be at the cost of taxpayers. So I do want to encourage you and Kathleen to explore those routes nonetheless.
Yeah, get me in
see
contact
how
with
you
them
can-
and we'll sit down.
So, there, next is to authorize a temporary road closure from 160 Mondo Lane to 198 Charlene Parkway on Sunday, August 31st, 2025, from 12 p.m. 10 p.m. for the annual Black Party. That is a long day. All right, we have a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Jones.
Aye.
Counselor Paul. Yes. Counselor Cicero.
Yes.
Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Supervisor Carr.
Yes. The next is to approve the appointment of Pete Weber to the position of gatekeeper at Ridgefield Park effective May 10th, 2025 through November 7th, 2025 at a pay rate of $2,600 for the season.
I talked to the highway department and parks, and they said this is someone who's been doing it, so they got no issue with it. And,
Who closes the gates at our other parks?
another person.
Huh? Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. All right, well, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Jones. Aye. Counselor Paul. Yes. Counselor Cicero.
Yes.
Counselor Carney. Supervisor Carr.
Yes, the next one is, cleanup orders as listed on the agenda. Is there a second? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Jones. Aye. Counselor Paul. Yes. Counselor Cicero.
Yes.
Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Supervisor Carr.
Yes, we're gonna go into executive session in a second, but I would like to make an announcement that I should have made at the beginning. The May 26th, June 23rd, July 28th, And August 25th, board meetings are going to be canceled. We did this last year. It worked well, I think, for everybody. So I wanted to make sure the public would be aware of it. So we will be having one meeting those 4 months instead of two, and then we'll be back to two meetings again in September. With that, we do have to go into an executive session.
Motion, can we discuss pending litigation?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. We will not be taking any action after executive session.